Yo, Eric, we're over here on the paranormal hunt, and I headed over to this other building, and it's number 13. What is this someone on? My God.
Right before the actual show gets started, people, right there beneath, I put a poll up about, do you believe in the devil? Yes or no? Maybe. So take the poll so we can check out the results during the show. So right now, if I'm going to check that poll, what I have right now, let me find it real quick. Right now, the poll, it's very simple. Do you believe in the devil? 65 out of so far 37 votes. So far, 65% says yes. 22% says no. 14% says don't know. So if you want to be part of that poll, please put it in. Well, welcome to Thursday, the best damn YouTube show you ever going to get on a Thursday. Now, Wednesday is tied in with Anthony's show, so I can't say Wednesday. But Thursday, I'll say my show, and then whatever day the Amber's have, she can have Amber. Guys, the devil. First of all, is the devil real?
Absolutely.
Is he not? If you're a religious person, and if you are a believer in God in heaven, I would think you have to believe in the devil, right? Good and evil. One can exist without the other, you know? Or if you don't believe in God, do you still believe in maybe not the devil point of view of the Bible, but just an evil spirit that is not from a human energy? And this is awesome because we got Amber, who, you know, she's a medium. She does investigations, and maybe we'll get her point of view if she's been out on some investigations on how do you know the difference between a human energy versus an energy that's not from this world. Anthony himself has been on investigations with the famous hand on the wall. He probably want to know, like, if you go on an investigation, how do you know who you're talking to? How do you know? Am I getting a simple EVP? You know, am I seeing a simple ghost, or is that something we don't want to mess with? Because think about this, people. Think about this. Every investigation, there's a danger to it. If you go on a Bigfoot hunt, right? What's the danger on a Bigfoot hunt? Other animals, bears, or you don't know for a fact that Bigfoot's a nice, caring guy that won't hurt you. You don't know that for sure. UFOs, aliens, what are you afraid of there? A UFO landing right on top of you. That'd be bad. Land on top of you, crush you. Grays visiting you. So there's horror in everything. But, you know, one of the most popular, let's just be honest, the paranormal is popular because anybody can kind of do it versus the other ones. But how do you know who you're talking to? Is it a good spirit? Bad spirit? Is it evil? I don't know. We have the answers here, but we could talk about it. But before we start, we have to ask the question, who is the devil? Who is Lucifer? So I got a video that kind of tells you the story of Lucifer. And what's great is Anthony grew up in a family that has a lot of ties to the church, and he could probably give us a lot of information that maybe the video doesn't show, tell us more about it. This is what I'm telling you guys. This is a fantastic panel.
Anthony was an altar boy.
He's an altar boy. I mean, you can't believe it. Guys, listen. I got to tell you this story real quick. I got to tell you this story real quick. And this is a true story. So as a kid, you know, we live in an apartment building that wasn't really apartments for regular rentals. It was an apartment for illegals that came into California. They needed a place to stay. So we had to live in a place like that, which is great. But we moved into a house, and down the road there's a church, a Baptist church. And somebody goes, hey, they do baptize like once a month. And somebody goes, but Eric, if you go get baptized, and I wasn't a church going person, they go, if you go get baptized, you get a free ticket to heaven. That's what I was told. And I was like, I'm not religious, but why not?
If you get baptized, getting baptized shows all the evil entities that your soul belongs to Christ, that you walk in the same path of Christ. That's what getting baptized means. So it's basically
But this was interesting because I went and got baptized. And back in the 80s, if you got baptized, the piece of paper you get is almost as good as a birth certificate. A lot of places will take a birth certificate or a baptized paper.
Baptismal certificate, right?
Yeah, it was that powerful of a paper. Then I remember somebody goes, would you get baptized at? Oh, the Baptist church. Oh, Baptist is here. You don't get the free pass to heaven. You have to get baptized in this religion. Then I'm sitting there like, hold on a second. Are you telling me that there's different levels of a baptism depending on the religion that you're in? I'm like, what? So Anthony, is there a difference between what a level of a baptism is depending on the religion you go to?
No, that's not true, because every religion, even Muslim, it's all a subsidiary of the Catholic religion. They all very similar to each other. They just believe, one religion believes that Jesus Christ was a prophet and not the son of Christ. Some believe that Jesus was the son of Christ and not a prophet. There's just little discrepancies like that in between the Jewish, the Catholic, and the Muslim. But everything, when you break it down, any one of those religions you get baptized in, that brings the light of Christ into you. You're accepting the light of Christ and the Holy Spirit. So,
man, I got baptized at a really young age. I grew up going to a Pentecostal church. Like my grandma we went all the time. And I got baptized very young. So when I got older, like in my late teens, I was like, well, I'm going to do this again, right? Like, because I want to do it, not because somebody's telling me to.
Right.
So I have to climb up these steps, right? And I slipped on the top step and fell all the way in. Everybody was like, oh my gosh.
I thought you were going to tell me the baptism water was boiling when you went in it or something.
It was not, but I slipped and fell all the way down the steps and all the way in.
My grandpa was happy because my grandpa was actually a minister at a church. So you would think I would have gone to a church as a normal kid, but I didn't. I didn't. Well, let me play this video of what is Lucifer. So if maybe some of you don't even know the real story behind Lucifer.
Pretty crazy.
Maybe this will help. And then Anthony could tell us the right or wrong what this video has said about Lucifer.
Got it.
Here we go. Angels and demons. Get your holy water.
In the world's dawn, God created the heavens and the earth on the second day. And on the very same day, God created the angels, archangels, and cherubim. And these heavenly creatures would inhabit the heavens. The renowned Gabriel and Michael were among these magnificent beings. But there was yet another entity who stood out due to his beauty and splendor, known as Lucifer. He was the most important creature God had ever created. But although he had so many qualities, or perhaps due to that, Lucifer was taken by pride. This is the vice that leads to arrogance, vanity, and endless haughtiness. Pride was one of the 7 deadly sins. The proud Lucifer considered himself to be so perfect that he decided to create his own throne, placed even above God, since he wished to be like God. To accomplish his plan, the evil angel deceived the other angels around him. Therefore, the father of falsehood had by his side a third of the angelic beings who inhabited the heavens. Together, they would unleash a battle for heaven. But Lucifer encountered an outstanding opponent, Archangel Michael, who commanded the heavenly militia of God-loving angels. To defeat the Lord's angels, Lucifer turned himself into a mighty dragon and dueled against Michael, who wielded a flaming sword. Notwithstanding all his might, the dragon did not defeat Michael, since the latter had God by his side. Lucifer and his evil angels were banished from heaven. These angels fell on the earth and were trapped in hell. But Lucifer endured even greater punishment. He, once the most beautiful angel, was transformed into the heinous Satan. Lucifer and his fallen angels started to live in hell. But although defeated, Satan still wanted to avenge himself against his creator and decided to attack his greatest creation, humanity itself, which had been created in the image and likeness of God. A serpent-shaped Satan entered the Garden of Eden and convinced the innocent Eve to taste the forbidden fruit. And using his deceitful tongue, Lucifer concatenated the original sin, which caused Adam and Eve to be driven out of paradise. After that, Satan would devote all his efforts to alienate man from God, turning them into sinners so that they failed to reach paradise. Lucifer, the fallen angel, rejected God's grace, and therefore will spend eternity trying to destroy his work.
So, Anthony, everything they said there on the fallen angel, is there anything that they're majorly missing about the devil?
Lucifer was the personification of evil. Okay, Lucifer wanted the same accolades as Jesus Christ. He believed that Jesus Christ shouldn't be sitting on the throne of man alone, that because he was the right hand of the Father, he should be seated right next to him and have the same authority. So because he tried to overthrow Jesus and Jesus's army of angels, because Lucifer was one of the four generals. So you had Saint Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Lucifer. They were the four generals of the archangels of heaven. And he tried to get them to leave and start their own thing. And Jesus wasn't having it. So he deemed Lucifer, everything that doesn't follow the light of Christ will walk with Satan, is how it was put to him. So everything that follows in darkness follows Lucifer. But when you theoretically, Lucifer at one time was one of the brightest angels of heaven. He was the right hand of the Father. He just wanted full control. He wanted equal control. So that's how you got to look at that. And then, as time goes by, now the way we look at it is that everything that's fully devoted to evil is Satan and his works.
Now,
and by the way, those horns behind you on the picture fit your head perfect.
Wow, it does. It does. It does. Now, being jealous can lead to, I guess, a Star Wars world, to the dark side and all that, because jealous is a very powerful thing. But I mean, I guess I could kind of see a little bit of point of view, Lucifer. You were the top man, you were the one man, and here you are. God picks a human to be his next right-hand man, not even an angel, a person on earth. So I'm not taking his side, but what I'm saying is I can see where angels might be mad about that. Like, why aren't we're the ones that were created first by you? These were just, I don't know what humans were, like toys or not. I'm not saying we're toys, but you know what I mean? I mean, I can see where
look at it this way, Eric. Lucifer look at it this way. If all men are created equal, then why do we not share full control in the gates of heaven? That's how Lucifer looked at it. He wanted equal rights and control to do anything that God could do, anything that Jesus could do. Lucifer wanted those same rights.
Yeah, and I get that part, because
it's
like a vice president wakes up one day and say, "Hey, I want to be president too.
Right.
I want full power."
Right.
That's where they divide. Being jealous, I can see where that can happen. It'd be like the president said, "You know what? The Secretary of State's going to be my second-hand man. Vice president, you go somewhere else."
Right. And
Dude,
just
I don't even know who our second. I don't even know the
just
name
like
of our president now.
Feed the Fink said in the chat, angels are God's servants. And that's true, because any man that's going to lead other men has to be a servant to others first. So no angel is going to want to have full control. Angels, they want to serve others to do better for the will of man. You understand? And Michael, and I'm sorry, Lucifer didn't look at it that way. He just looked at the control aspect of things.
And guys, we are going to be mixing this into the paranormal investigations in a little bit, but this is fascinating to understand.
Can I say something about the video you shared?
Yeah, go for it.
And this is a little off subject, but you showed the video and it shows Eve looking at the snake, and the snake convinces her to eat this apple, right? If we're all convinced that Eve's talking to a snake and there's giants and angels coming down that are 800 feet tall, But then you have people that are like, oh, ghosts couldn't exist, or Bigfoot's not real, or aliens aren't real. Dude, she talked to a snake, and you're like, you know, you're going every Sunday and you're amen. She talked to a snake. There's a lot of real things out here that people just don't grasp because of the mentality of how we're raised or what we're told to believe. But that's just a good example of they were talking to stuff back then, you know, they were talking to back then.
That's
and
true.
when you look at it today too, evil's winning on every level is how I look at it. You got mass shootings at schools, you got kids killing their parents, you got people stealing from each other, husbands cheating on wives cheating on husbands, people killing their children. It's a sick world, right? And when you look at it like that, you say to yourself, my God, evil's taken over. How are we gonna rectify this? You know?
And you know, Anthony, this morning I went to drive my daughter to school. We go up this road and there's like 6 cop cars just like a block away from my daughter's school. First I'm thinking like, and we went a little bit late. You know, you're thinking like, oh my God, was there just a shooting there? Now something did bad happen there. A car actually hit a kid, which is horrible. But you know, the first thing you see all these cop cars, you're like, another shooting is happening, because that's all you hear on TV, the news. It's just weird.
You know, answer it. Go ahead.
Oh no, and it's weird that we talked about cons before. You know, all these different kind of Comic Cons. You guys know there's actually devil cons that are out there.
I know you said that. I can't believe it, man.
And I'm going to show. Yeah. There was a devil con. I forgot where it was at, and it's just weird to think about, because if you think about Lucifer, it's evil, right? And I understand. Mm-hmm. Listen, if somebody becomes a Scientologist and that makes them a better person, so be it. Who am I to say that religion is horrible? I know we heard stories. You know, Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. You know what I mean? You know, but you know, when you sit there, there's an origin to every con. You know, comic book cons come from comic books. It's good, it's fun, it's reading, it's artwork. But how do you become a con of something that's known to be evil, to rip you, to steal your soul? That's still weird. I don't want to judge people, but and this has goth gets a bad name, a bad image, thinking goth is for the devil. It's not. But just here, I'm gonna play that video of this con. It's just weird that these cons
100 years ago, man, you would have never had a con like that. They would have been out there with pitchforks and torches and stakes, and they would have been looking to kill you back then for something like that. Today, I don't even know how it's allowed today, man.
It's in Scottsdale. The devil in Scottsdale inside SatanCon.
It's disgusting.
Welcome back to 12 News at 10. The devil has come to Scottsdale. Sort of.
The first ever Satanist convention put on by the Satanic Temple brought out Satanists and a lot of protesters to Old Town Scottsdale.
Team 12's William Pitts went inside SatanCon.
Jesus saves. If we don't protest publicly, the idea that Satanists could come into Scottsdale and consecrated to Satan, couldn't call ourselves Christians.
And hundreds of Christians swarmed outside the Saguaro Hotel. Signs like "Satan has no rights," "Be gone, Satan." Because right behind them is the first ever Satanist convention.
There's a lot of people that, apparently don't think we should be allowed to exist without being protested. And, honestly, that's their right. We're not trying to shut them down. They can dislike us if they want to.
The Satanic Temple is actually less about Satan and more famous for challenging cities about religion. Back in 2016, the Satanic Temple of Tucson wanted to give an opening prayer at a Scottsdale City Council meeting. They were denied, and the Satanists sued for religious discrimination. They asked the city of Phoenix, too, and Phoenix did away with public prayers instead of saying no. Fast forward a few years, and the Satanists lost their lawsuit. So now they're throwing SatanCon across the street from Scottsdale City Hall.
Due to what we believe was a misunderstanding of our relationship with the Scottsdale area, we wanted to have our convention here.
So what goes on inside SatanCon?
People think you're like sacrificing animals and stuff in there.
Absolutely not. No, nothing even remotely. You'd be amazed actually at the percentage of our membership who are vegan.
No sacrifices, no black masses. Actually, there's bath bombs, Beelzebubbles, t-shirts, voodoo dolls, dark arts and crafts.
Protect reproductive rights.
And presentations on things like abortion laws and reproductive rights. Another talking about the satanic panic of the 70s. There's no seances or religious rituals, because despite the name, the Satanists have said for decades they don't even believe in it.
Satan is a metaphor for personal liberation, the pursuit of knowledge, and a rebellion against arbitrary authority, not a literal deity in which we believe or worship.
Put all this together.
Still, the name is enough to get attention and protest, even if there's no actual devil worship involved.
There's something wrong there. What is it? We think she must protest too much.
In Scottsdale, William Pitts.
There's something wrong with the whole thing because, first of all, well, they don't even have to believe in it. So that means you're about money and greed. That you're pretending to be something, then you're not really that person. I mean, it's just weird. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to say people have mental issues. I'm not trying to say that, but how can you follow something that through history it's known to hurt and kill people?
Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, my friend, because in
But there's always been like this. There's always been battle of religions. You talk to a Catholic versus a Mormon, they're going to have different viewpoints on things and think that they're right versus anybody else.
Oh, 100%, Amber. Listen, almost all the major wars are due to religion. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. The hatred, the judgment, all of it.
And I'm not saying religion should be, should be praised because we know there's a lot of bad, not bad religion, bad leaders in the religion. Because
absolutely.
Religion represents love your neighbor, love everybody for who they are. And we know leaders aren't leaders in these religious, not all, but they're evil themselves.
They couldn't pick a better name for what they're trying to represent, like light warriors of light or something like that. They had to pick Satan. I mean, that just tells me everything he's telling you is not truthful. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
They're all about love and helping people not get abortions and this. Nah, I'm sorry. I don't buy all that shit. You're selling bath bombs and that's all a cover. And
I do hate on some parts of regular religion that if they don't like something, they automatically call it the devil too. I mean, my God. I don't know how many times I was called a Satanist just because of the music that I liked in the 80s.
Go back to Catholic Church 20 years ago, Eric. They didn't believe in same-sex marriages. They didn't allow same-sex marriage people to go into the Catholic Church and receive the Eucharist. You weren't allowed to get married. The church frowned upon you. Go back 20 years prior before that.
Some church still does.
You go back 20 years further before that, you couldn't even get divorced.
No.
Or you had a problem getting a marriage annulled.
Isn't that weird? Because aren't we supposed to have free will? And if you believe in the word of God, God created man, created free will. If he created free will, then you should appreciate all life that he created, regardless of the sex they like or the color of their skin, right?
If all men were created equal, and I'll say it as all men and women.
All men and women.
If all men and women were created equally, right? Then we all have free will to do whatever we want. And that's the problem, because Christ gave us free will. That's why all these idiots choose to do these stupid things. That's why you fight over religion. That's why you fight over our rights. Who are we to say to somebody that's gay or bisexual or whatever that they can't marry same sex and do what they want? Who's to say that LGBTQ whatever, transgender whatever, can't have their own rights and freedoms and live in peace too? I mean, nobody should have judgment over that.
No, it's religious indoctrination to a point.
Yeah, really, everybody should be able to do what they want as long as it's in
And going back to you talking about the shootings and all that, how people are so bad, and that has a lot to do with manifesting, because we do it every day of our lives and we just don't realize it. But when we have collectively thousands of people saying this is bad, this world's going to hell, this is that, it's going to happen. But when we all get together and start showing that love and kindness, whether you like somebody or not, just be kind, mind your own business. Things are going to happen and it's going to change for the better.
Yep. Hey, I told people on Tuesday, Anthony was on the show, that my brother, who became a sister, went to work and got punched just because he was dressing like a woman. And they don't think a man should dress like a woman. Got punched for no reason. Just punched him. The guy just walked away like nothing. Like he was doing God's work in a way.
And who was he to do that? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Who was that guy to do that?
Yeah.
Who gave him the right to make that judgment call?
Sometimes I'm worried about, my kids, because they can choose whatever they want to choose. And if they choose not what the popular chooses, will they get picked on and all that? Now,
I think later on in life, at least another decade or now, things are going to be a lot different than what it is right now. So I think collectively, our souls are all up leveling and we're growing. So it's going to be a lot better.
And it's getting better, because TV and movies now, if you watch TV shows now, they are showing more interracial marriages, like on the shows, a man, black, Asian, or whatever, they're showing more men kissing men, more women kissing women. And that's important for TV because when you see it every day, it starts to become normal. And when things start to become normal, there's actually becomes a little bit less hate. It's when you don't see that stuff. And when you got parents, I'm gonna tell you guys this story. This is a true story. In my town, Kerman, California, Kerman. Okay. There's like a little park thing in the middle of the road. One day, I was a kid. There was all these people in the white suits, in the white robes, the triple Ks.
Oh.
I've never seen this before. I'm like, why are people dressing up like ghosts? Because I didn't even know what the triple Ks were, right? And my best friend who was raised with me in Kerman, he was older than I am. He's like 4 years older. So he was in high school. I was like junior high. So he wanted to do a report. So this group was handing out flyers. They were handing out flyers about their group. And Miguel, my friend, they won't give him one because he's Mexican. So he asked my brother, myself, can we go up there and get a pamphlet for him? It's like, we don't want to get a pamphlet, right? I don't want to be around it, but he wanted for his report. So he walked with us. We walked up to one of them, and the person behind the row talked, and they knew him from high school.
Come on, really?
No, yes. Hold on. The guy goes, hey, Miguel, hey, I can't hand this to you, but I handed it to him, and this is what he said. I remember this. He goes, guys, I don't want to be here. My father is making me wear this and hand this out. And that's what's sad, that we're supposed to have free will, but parents, older people are forcing the young ones to think a certain way, to believe in a certain way. And I'm not saying everybody's off the hook because of this, but right there, they knew the person. They said he was the nicest kid in school, but he was forced to put it on because his father made him, or because he still live under the roof.
See, man, I wouldn't.
I know.
I wouldn't do that if my father did something like that. I would be like, you know what, man, I don't respect what you're doing, and I'm not going to do it. How many children rebel against their parents every day for stupider things? You're gonna put on a white robe and persecute other races just because your father does it? Nah, I can't.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense. And he actually did his report, and I think he got an A on it because he actually have a pamphlet. I know it's weird. My best friend, Rita Saavedra, was Mexican. My best man at my wedding was a guy named Tej. He was a Punjabi from India. My best man, and it's just weird that I never saw that in my town before, but there it was right in front of my face. And I always thought that kind of stuff was back east, the southern states. I'm like, West Coast don't do this. They were there. So the evilness doesn't matter where you live, where you go. There's evilness all around you. Now, we all seen the movie The Exorcist, right? I know Amber's seen The Exorcist. I know Anthony's seen The Exorcist. Now, The Exorcist movie itself is not a true story, but it was based on an event of a possession of a kid named Roland Doe. There's even a movie about Roland Doe, but it doesn't get recognized because it's not The Exorcist. Like we said, even movies have an origin story. So this is a possession story. And then we'll get into about investigation hauntings. This is where this stuff starts to become even more real. So this is Roland Doe, the inspiration of the Exorcist movie.
There were several exorcisms performed by Roman Catholic priests on an anonymous boy in the United States in the 1940s, documented under the pseudonym Roland Doe or Robbie Mannheim. The attending priest, Raymond J. Bishop, documented the events surrounding the 14-year-old boy's alleged demonic possession. In 1971, William Peter Blatty's novel The Exorcist included elements inspired by subsequent supernatural claims related to these events. The family experienced strange noises after Aunt Harriet's death, furniture moving on its own accord, and ordinary objects flying or floating when the boy was nearby, according to Thomas B. Allen. Luther Miles Scholes, their Lutheran pastor, stepped in to help the family. Scholes, who was long interested in parapsychology, arranged for the boy to spend the night with him so he could observe him. Psychologist J.B. Scholes advised the boy's parents to see a Catholic priest after he claimed to have witnessed furniture moving by itself and household objects moving. Rhine wondered whether Scholes had unconsciously exaggerated some of the facts. Various exorcisms were then performed on the boy, according to the traditional story. A Roman Catholic priest, Edward Hughes, exorcised Roland at Georgetown University Hospital, a Jesuit institution. In the middle of the ritual, the boy allegedly managed to break a mattress spring and use it as an impromptu weapon, slashing the priest's arm and halting the exorcism. In St. Louis, Roland's cousin contacted a professor at St. Louis University, Bishop, who in turn spoke to college church associate William S. Bowdern. Roland was reportedly observed by both priests shaking his bed, flying objects, and displaying an aversion to any sacred object in his relative's house, where they observed some flying objects and the boy speaking in guttural tones. A second exorcism was permitted by the Archbishop. Located in South St. Louis, Missouri, South City Hospital was the site of the exorcism. Bowdern, as well as another priest, Walter Halloran, were requested to assist him before the next exorcism ritual began. The third Jesuit priest, William Van Roo, was present during the scene. Halloran claimed the teenager was covered in scratches that read evil and hell. The mattress began shaking during the Litany of the Saints portion of the exorcism ritual. Halloran also broke his nose during the process. After the exorcism was complete, the anonymous subject led an ordinary life, according to Halloran. If you enjoyed this video...
Now, the first question I'm going to ask, Anthony, with the church stuff that you've been involved with, do you believe that people can be possessed by the devil and
Yes.
exorcism are needed?
I can't even believe that we're talking about this because I was just talking to Ron earlier today that I wanted to do we should do a show about exorcism and stuff. And it's crazy that we're doing it today. But yeah, you can be possessed, and the Catholic Church has priests that are devoted to just to exorcisms. That's all they do. They go to special school for it. So the Catholic Church definitely does cover it.
And is an exorcism automatically that the thing that's inside the person is considered the devil? I mean,
No. The first thing they do to see if the person is having a mental breakdown, if they're stable and stuff of that nature.
It's really weird to think about because I've heard different theories, and this is why I'm glad you're here too, because some people have said, and I actually called a couple of churches yesterday to see if a minister or priest will come on, but of course they all decline. They all decline. Not one of them.
You can get one, but you need one that specifically does exorcisms.
Well, because I've heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, that first of all, to be possessed, that you're supposed to be religious yourself. You're supposed to be involved. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, hold on a second. So you're saying that the best way to protect myself is say I don't believe in God, I don't believe in the church, I don't believe anything in religion, then I'm safe? I mean, why would somebody say that?
When you're at your weakest, that's when the devil can get in. When you start to doubt everything, why is my life the way it is? God's not looking out for me. I feel like I'm alone. And then, that's when the devil plays his tricks. That's how it happens, Mom.
And now, Amber, you're a known medium that you hear things, you feel things, you see some things. Can you feel if the energy is not a normal type of ghost, I guess you could say, that this is something that's different than a regular energy? Can you feel something like that?
Yeah, there's a difference in energy for sure. I took some notes when you were playing that video on here. But, so the first thing that kind of caught my attention was they said that his Aunt Harriet died. So everybody was kind of sad, right? And then things started moving after that. So just a regular human spirit can move stuff. So nothing was pointing to demonic possession at all. So then the parents got worried because he said he saw something move, a chair move. Maybe grandma knocked it over or Aunt Harriet knocked it over. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm just saying that could have very well been what happened. And then they freak out and have no real reason to do an exorcism. And you also have to look at who's doing the exorcism, what their beliefs are. If their beliefs are in line with yours, that's fine. But if they have something totally different that they're working on and you're not in sync, it can really cause energy issues, I think. So did they kind of cause something more to happen by doing an exorcism that wasn't needed and kind of conjure up something? Because you can manifest anything when you're talking about it constantly. Maybe his scratches where he's like, help get me out of this place. They're freaking out and it caused these mental issues for him because he broke the mattress because he wanted to escape.
So in a way, religion can go against you because if you're fully into religious in the book, you're thinking already the worst, right? I mean, in your mind, thinking exorcism because you believe in the God and the devil.
And a lot of people that don't believe in Satan or the devil, and there are people that don't believe in it. Those people, are they getting possessed, or is the devil going to waste time possessing people that doesn't believe in him because they're not going to acknowledge him? He will get no acknowledgement from it. So you have to look at that aspect as well. But I don't know. I don't think this kid was. I think maybe he had abilities. Maybe his grandma or his aunt did. Like I don't know if this really called for a demonic possession and for multiple exorcisms to take place with him.
I love.
What's the other word they got for that? Oppression, right? Like when you're doing it yourself. Like when you cause the things to move around in your house.
That's like
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, I love what you're saying. That. Yeah. I love what you're saying, Amber, because I got this video that he's a writer of a book called Confrontation with Evil, and he talks about the Roland Road, and he says some things that both of you have said, and you guys caught my ear when you guys were talking about this. The same thing this guy said in his book.
The early 1970s novel and movie that followed on The Exorcist was based on the most famous exorcism to ever take place in 1949 right here in St. Louis, involving a 13 or 14-year-old boy called Roland. Stephen LaChance has just completed what's being called the most in-depth review of that exorcism conducted by St. Louis University Jesuit priests, and it's all in his newly released book, Confrontation with Evil. And Stephen is back here with us. Welcome back to Fox 2 News in the Morning.
Thank you for having me.
You felt like you had to write this, did you not?
I really felt like I needed to.
Why
There's
is
just been too much urban legend, hype, and sensationalism around this story.
So you're dealing with the facts. You actually read one of the diaries, the copies.
Actually, we take it apart bit by bit and analyze it using different cases from around the world, different ideas, and really getting in to explain this very human story about this young boy and what he went through.
I know that even the late Father Halloran was hesitant to say he believed that this boy was possessed by the devil, but other priests involved said, oh, most definitely this was something going on here.
Well, I think when you look at the outwardly manifestations, the things flying across the room, the words appearing on his body, that sort of thing, I think it's safe to say that something pretty serious was going on there.
Can't explain it.
No, absolutely cannot explain it.
So as far as the house today, I understand the man who lives there, he is an atheist, doesn't believe this, he's never experienced anything.
Right.
And other people have gone in, I know I've heard it on the radio where they've gone into this house in St. Louis.
I'm going to continue it, but again, another person moves in, has nothing. Amityville Horror House, same thing. The other people moved in, has not experienced it. Not saying it's not haunted or a possession could happen, but again, another story that somebody else moves into the exact same place and nothing has happened. That's one.
Where part of the exorcism took place.
and they have sensed things, but you have an interesting take on that.
Right, and I think what it is when you go into some place and you start feeding it negative or negative thoughts or negative feelings, you're going to incite some kind of response. The residual.
Kind of like what you're kind of saying, Amber, right there. You're going in there thinking it's already horrible, horror, negative, and you're manifesting negative when you go into a place.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a demon there and the priest got rid of it or whoever did this exorcism, then there shouldn't be any residual from that. You know, like that's gone. But spirit can follow people in no matter where they're at. It could be somebody that died in a car wreck a mile down the road that's hanging out there because it knows it's going to get attention, or it could come in with the investigator. You know, you just never know.
Yep. See what else he says.
Energy can stick around and stay, obviously, but you start feeding that negative and funneling that negative thought into it, and you're gonna get what you ask for.
Yeah, for those who are not familiar with the story, this boy was brought to St. Louis from Maryland. There was an exorcism there. It failed. He was a Lutheran, converted to Catholicism. Today lives in another state, is in his 70s, married,
and
has
worked for NASA.
And worked for NASA.
Can you believe?
Yeah. What other?
Worked for NASA. So now I'm not saying nobody's here are experts in possessions, but Amber, so you're saying that once a priest gets rid of the thing, it should be gone. But can it, in your experience, if anybody ever told you, have you ever heard of somebody getting possessed twice, maybe by different ghosts, or not different ghosts, but
okay?
Or same
I dealt with a demonic entity last year, about this time last year, and I got rid of it. It was not possessing anybody, but this thing he was gross. But then I wholeheartedly believe that somebody asked him to come back, and I had to deal with it again.
Really?
I think any of us, as long as you are okay with yourself and you are in a good place in your life, can get rid of things. We're all capable of that. But you know, somebody that has a really high vibration and you're not allowing that negative to be in you and you're not moping around on life, they're not going to mess with you. That's why, like, I was talking to Marty last week on her channel, and I was like, you know, let one try it, because they're not going to get anywhere with me. I know where I stand, and I know how powerful I am. But you know, then if you look at some of the other people that's been possessed in these situations, usually they're in a really bad place in life. They're really depressed. They have a lot of crap going on. They're divorced. They're just really having hard times, and they're at their lowest level. And that's when this happens. But if you work on yourself and keep your vibrations high, I think you're okay. I mean, you don't have a lot to worry about as far as, like, don't go in every situation terrified that you're going to get possessed. Like, let one try it, dude. I will smack them down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And but what if somebody is possessed, right? I'm serious. What if my daughter is possessed? I wonder, how can I even, since I don't go to church, how can I even go to a church and ask a priest to come by to bless the house or something? Do I have to be part? I don't know, Anthony. Like, would I have to be part of that church on a normal basis to ask for a priest to come over to bless my house or something?
No, not necessarily.
It probably goes by the church's rules, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a priest to come to your house and bless your home if you're not Catholic. They do house blessings on the regular. You give a donation to the church. You know what I'm saying?
But Amber, why? Like you said, you got rid of one. You know, it only took you, but some needs priests and stuff. I mean, how do you know the level of a demon anyway? I know that's a hard question to answer, but I mean,
there was this low level demonic thing, and it kept giving me this name. And this is when I first got that Ouija board a few weeks ago. You know, I should have known, right? But it kept giving me this name, and I have never heard this name before, ever. So I look it up, and it was like this demonic thing. What I looked up made it sound like really scary and powerful. But even my spirit guide was like, you don't even have to make it leave. It's not going to do crap. Like, its idea of telling me its name was just like mocking my own name or just saying like really random stuff. I got rid of it, but it wasn't. I think it knew, like, it was terrified to even like tell me what it was, or to even like step forward to me. Like, it was hunkering and hiding. Not saying that's going to be the case for all of them, but that was definitely. I think any of them are low level. You know, they're all low vibrational, but it just, I don't know. I don't think
Well,
that.
the minute they reveal their name, they give up their strength, because then you could get rid of them.
Right. And it kept telling me my name. And I'm like, look, I'm done playing with you. I want your name and I want it now. And
Right,
it
that's why
just
they
kept
were
saying
playing
my
with you.
name.
Yeah.
But
Once,
I
like I
got
said,
a
once it
spirit guide
gives,
in there and she told me his name. Or the when I looked it up, it said it was a male, but this thing said it was a female.
what was the name?
Ambez.
Nothing.
But Ambez was very low level.
I mean, I know this is probably an impossible question, but can a regular human spirit, in a way, become a devil type of energy, like that powerful of a possession to somebody, or does it have to be a demon from hell? Like, if I want to possess, can I have a regular energy ghost who died on Earth to possess Anthony, or do you think does it actually have to be from hell?
Okay. I have connected with one person who was the product of a demonic possession, and the exorcisms didn't work, and he died. So he still had human aspects, but he was telling me, I'm a demon. I'm a demon now because of this. But like a demon that's always been a demon is a lot different than a human turned demon, because I think they all have that like lower vibrational aspect when the demon gets what they want from him. You know, he was in a bad place in his life, and this was like, I think there was TV shows about this guy, but he was cool though. He wasn't like trying to scare me and like yelling at me or nothing. He didn't really want me around. There was some aspects where he was trying to scare me, but he was still had that human energy to him too. I don't know.
How do you think that happens, Amber? How do you think when a regular human crosses over, they end up becoming a demonic entity? Because I only ask because I had a motorcycle accident when I was 19, and my heart stopped twice, right? And the 2 times, I guess it stopped because I had like 2 experiences. One's I crossed over into this field, and I seen a blurry vision of a man walking to me, but I was just in this beautiful field with a beautiful sky, and then the guy put his hand through my chest, touched my heart, and I woke up, and I was in the ambulance. And then when I fell back out again, I lost a lot of blood and everything. I must have fallen back out again. And the minute I fell back out again and my heart stopped, I was right back in the same realm where I was. But it was beautiful and peaceful. I didn't see no darkness, no evil, no nothing. I didn't see no angels or anything like that either. But I knew I was somewhere where I would want to stay. Happiness, peaceful. You know what I'm saying? So how do you think it works? Like, if you think you're a good person, you cross over to somewhere where like I went and then wait to go up? Or if you're evil, you go to the dark side?
As far as like people that I think that pass away from possession, I think it's just that entity kind of controlling them. Because I've even met human spirits that they're just a butthole in life and they hold other spirits in death. You know, I've experienced that at a particular place that you pay to go to, and it's haunted. It was really sad. But we have free will when we die. There's been stories of people that pass away, then come back, and they're like, I see all these screaming things. But I've never had any spirit ever tell me that the burning pit of hell is real. I don't know if it's like they hold you in this plane and you can't go to the light to heal. I don't know if that's how
the
it
point
works.
I'm making. Like,
because there's never there's just not a lot of information on it. We're not going to know that till we die, right? We're not going to know that till we get there. I'll never say I know everything about spirit, and if anybody tells you they do, they're lying. I tell what I know, and when I connected with Archangel Michael, he even said that hell didn't exist, that it's something that people took out of context.
Of it.
People took it out of context.
Of it. Yeah, right.
You know, once you translate the Bible so many times, you know, a banana could be sitting on my table, but it's going to be like a coconut tree on the beach, you know, once it gets translated so many times. So I think as humans, we preach, especially in church, we preach and try to go by these rules that maybe aren't real, that weren't what Jesus meant.
Yeah, after that happened to me, I'm convinced that you go somewhere when you die. I'm convinced it doesn't.
Yeah, you can. I think if you want to go, there's souls I've connected with that can go to the light, heal, they can reincarnate, but then a fragment of their soul can still come back and connect with their loved ones. If that makes sense. It's really weird because time doesn't exist. Like we were talking about earlier, time does not exist.
Right. Time's a human construct.
Our past lives can be running right parallel with our current lives right now. You know what I mean? Like 3,000 years ago, it's still happening in some way. It sounds so hard to grasp the concept of, but it really is. There's a lot we don't understand.
So Amber, what would you recommend me and Anthony we're going to go to this place that's been known to have some bad spirits there, even maybe a demon or possession there. Would you recommend like Anthony and I to bring something with us, like a holy water or something that can maybe just in case? I mean, we all watch Zach gets possessed on TV and stuff. But what if Anthony and I go and I'm seeing Anthony doing a Zach like being possessed? Is there something that I could do?
Okay.
I'm not a medium. I don't have gifts, and I don't, I'm just a regular person.
Here's the thing with anything you take, crystals, holy water, sage, it's only going to be as effective as what you believe it will be, because our mind is powerful. Manifestation is real, and our mind is freaking powerful. You can't have good without the bad. It's like the yin and the yang, where there's light, there's going to be darkness. If you think you're going to walk in light all the time, you're not. But you're not always going to walk in dark either. For people that have crap going on in their lives, there's going to be light. But it's only going to work. That holy water is only going to help if you believe it's going to help, and if you're really strong in that belief that it's going to help.
So tap water could be just as good as holy water if I believe that it could work.
Yes, it can be. And what the best thing to do if you're going to go into any kind of situation is just surround yourself in light. Imagine a huge glowing bubble of protection around you, around your vehicle, and don't forget, like if you walk off the property and come back on, do it again. Just keep reminding yourself, I'm protected. You can't harm me. I have more power than you, to any of the entities. I mean, I wouldn't go out there and be like, don't talk crap to a demon unless you really know you can back it up. But
you mean
but all the demons I've met never tried to
possess me. Touch me if you dare. You mean that doesn't work?
It could, but they might just be sitting there rolling their eyes at you like, oh my gosh, another investigator here trying to get me to scratch him again.
Hey, let me ask you this. You see all these famous people like Katy Perry and Justin Bieber, and sometimes you see them doing interviews where they literally say they sold their soul to the devil. And then you'll see them on stage doing these weird hand symbols. They all do the same demonic hand symbols and gestures and
Illuminati?
Yeah, right. Do you believe that they actually made a contract with either
Absolutely.
devil or a demon for stardom?
If you got, and I'm not trying to promote myself, but Monday night I will have this amazing lady on my channel. Marty and I are doing a show together, and she's on TikTok. She has a YouTube channel, but she just does her TikToks. She is an amazing medium who in her past life, she was in that world. Okay. Back in like the 70s, 60s, she was in the elites. So she is trying to like bring light to it. But yeah, they're all lizards. They're all evil. If we stop paying attention to them and giving them attention, it's going to help heal us. But yeah, there's not any good ones. They did sell their souls. That's what they do. And they tell us, and people laugh about it and think it's a joke.
No, I don't.
When are we going to wake up and realize that, hey, but that's what we're going to talk about this coming Monday. It will be about that stuff. So
one of the most famous stories is the Robert Johnson story of Crossroads, where in this storyline where he's a guitar player. He was a good guitar player, but this folklore story goes that he went down to the Crossroads. He sold his soul to the devil so he could play better. Right. And then the guy vanishes for a year. And eyewitnesses of stories that's written saying he came back a year later and somehow he went from just a normal average player to one of the best guitar players that influences the world, where Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, B.B. King, everybody have said there wasn't for Robert Johnson's playing, they would not be as good as they were. They were influenced by Robert Johnson. But the folklore story goes is he sold his soul to the devil, came back a year later, and he was fantastic. It makes you think, is that true? Can somebody sell their soul to the devil?
I mean, the guy that couldn't even play guitar. His story.
He could play guitar, but he wasn't
good at it.
He wasn't good.
And when he came back a year later, he was phenomenal.
Just 1 year, he was phenomenal.
Right. I've heard that story.
And there's one of the most underrated movies. I'm telling you guys right now, one of the most underrated movies is called Crossroads. Not the one with Britney Spears. The one with Ralph Macchio from The Karate Kid.
Even better.
Where William Brown is a guy who played with Robert Johnson. And of course, the story goes he sold his soul to the devil, and he went back to beat the devil to tear up the contract. And there's a great guitar contest with Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid, versus Steve Vai. One of the best guitar fights you ever see. But Amber, what you're saying with your story and what Anthony's saying about these stars, you think that's true? Can you really?
Absolutely.
Really?
There's going to, whenever this, I don't know how long it's going to take, a few years maybe. The people you think have passed away, like stars, celebrities, you're going to find out are alive, and ones that you think are alive are really not alive. It's that deep. And I get my information from spirit.
Like Avril Lavigne is alleged to be one of those.
Brittany ain't around either. It's been 20-some years.
Trying to think who another one is. I know Avril Lavigne was one. Oh, David Chappelle, they had said.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are gone.
I've heard that before.
Cloning is real. It happens all the time. It's been happening for decades. They're not going to tell us. They don't want people. It's money to them.
We were talking about that yesterday, Amber, on my show.
Yeah.
Cloning. Yeah.
That's the picture from the movie Crossroads of him going across to William Brown to meet the devil. If you guys have not seen this movie, I
gotta check this out. What is it on Netflix?
You know what, Anthony? It's not nowhere on any streaming server, but it's on one of those free ones like Tubi,
Flex or something like that. Oh,
yeah,
Peacock,
it's on one of those.
like that.
It's my opinion one of the most underrated movies, because that scene at the end when he's playing it, because the deal was Ralph Macchio has to beat Steve Vai, because if he beats him, the contract of the soul gets torn up. But if he loses, he gets both their souls. But Amber, you know what's weird about that is say I don't want to do this. I know Anthony don't. But say for this argument speaking, Anthony wants to be the #1 YouTube channel out there, and he wants to sell his soul to him.
Oh, no.
How would you even? Is there like a process? Like, hey, devil, come here. I want to talk to you. I want to do some business. I mean, can you even get him there, or do I got to go to some kind of crossroads to meet the guy?
I mean,
let me show you.
I think as far as Hollywood goes,
I was able to connect with the Franciscan.
You're fine.
Finish. Go ahead, Amber.
As far as the Hollywood goes, I don't think it's necessarily working with Lucifer itself. I think it's just their own cult. You know what I mean? Like, they'll make you famous, but you got to do what they say. It's not.
I heard of that. The Donald Trump group.
Huh?
This is
a
an actual
Donald Trump group. You join them, you're in the devil's side. I get it.
No, you're thinking of Clinton. This is an actual priest, an actual Catholic priest that performs exorcisms for the Catholic Church. Now, I put it in the TV there to make it transformative so they don't hit the channel, but just listen to what this guy says about his profession. What's going on? Hold on,
put it up one more time. Here, let's take.
Hold on. Let me re-put it back out because
StreamYard does that now sometimes.
I know it's retarded. Go ahead, try now.
In Rome, I was able to connect with the Franciscan priest who had been an exorcist for 25 years. And then he permitted me to sit in on 40 exorcisms that he performed during the time that I was there. And then that allowed me to learn firsthand the ministry of the church for those who were up against the forces of evil and were seeking help.
What was the most extreme one you witnessed out of the 40? Because, of course, you get that question all the time.
There are a few that stand out. You know, obviously the very first one, you know, I'm talking with an elderly lady and her husband, and she's explaining to me why she believes that she's possessed. And, you know, I'm just, the three of us are in the room where we're having a conversation, and I'm watching Father Carmine, the priest who trained me, and he walks into the room and he puts a roll of paper towels on the table, and he walks back out, and he comes back in and ties a plastic grocery bag onto the wall radiator. He walks back out again, and he comes in, and this time he has a purple stole, which is a piece of purple cloth that a priest will drape around his neck as a sign of his priestly office. He has the rite of exorcism in his hand, and he immediately takes holy water and he blesses this little elderly lady. As soon as the drops of water hit her, the demon manifested. Her eyes rolled in the back of her head. She began foaming at the mouth, growling and snarling, and throwing out all kinds of blasphemies.
Such as?
This is, Fascinating stuff. We're at the hour mark. I just want to show what the votes are so far, and then I want to ask one last question to everybody. So the votes so far. Let me see here. Let me hit refresh. Let me see here. We have a total of 44 votes so far. So far, 61% says yes, they do believe in the devil. 20% says no, and 18% says don't know. So we'll go around the table real quick. One last question. So the simple question for Amber is can the devil make me do it? In your opinion, can the devil possess me and make me do something evil?
If you allow it, yes. I think
if I allow it.
As long as we just go back to loving one another.
If I don't allow it, he can still somehow get into me and make me do something I don't want to?
No.
Okay. You've watched a lot of movies, Eric. Have you ever seen The Skeleton Key with Kate Hudson?
Yes, I have.
Do you remember the end when she's putting that salt around her and she's like, I don't believe it, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. But she really did. That's how it is with that. If you have to believe, you have to believe that they can do that too. You have to give them that power. Because when you believe that they're going to do it, you're just kind of dropping your shields and you're allowing that power to.
It's kind of a special thing as Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger, right? Once you don't believe in him, you don't have fear, he can't hurt you. He can only hurt you if you fear. So Anthony, same question for you. Do you believe the devil can make me do it?
No, because you have free will.
But people do get possessed. Is it because they're down on their luck?
They're weak and they're doubting their religion and their faith. When you doubt everything and you don't have full confidence and strength in your faith, that's when you're giving up and you open up that little keyhole for them to enter. And then it starts with a little scratch on the back of your neck, and next thing you know, that demon's fully living and breathing inside you, and they become you. They take control over you. But your free will can avoid that if your faith is strong.
And Anthony, what you just said just kind of made me realize something. When you said that little scratch on your neck, how many people in the paranormal field do you see doing videos and they get a scratch and they could have easily done it themselves and they instantly, it's a demon, let's go do it.
Ghost Adventures, come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's
not
scratch,
always a
right?
demon.
Just
demons are bad, but they get the rap for everything that they didn't.
Just by them putting that thought in their mind that a demon, even if they're lying, they're automatically calling to that demon, and in his mind, he's looking at it like, oh, they want me to enter them. And then you're inviting him in. You're inviting it in.
Yes. And not just thoughts. Sometimes you do these investigations like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's dark, and you're so cold that you rub yourself against something. You don't feel it because it's cold. Kind of like when you go ice skating, you fall on your ass. It doesn't hurt until you actually leave. I've heard people didn't know they scratched themselves, and then they show a video. I can't remember the video, but the guys had these scratches. And then later on, there's another video shooting them walking the hallway, showing up. He actually walked against a corner. But it was so cold, he didn't feel it.
You know what? Tell me this. How come all these paranormal channels that are out there, right? Like Zach Bagans, he's got a good build. You're telling me he couldn't invent like a GoPro stick to put behind him and wear no shirt and film his back while the whole thing's going? We'll call it the scratch cam to see if a scratch forms in real time. I mean, that guy must have been scratched by a demon 10,000 times already. You don't think if it was real, he would have developed a scratch cam so you could see it in real time? It's all bullshit, that stuff.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree.
I'm going to pull up both these awesome people's channel. This is Amber's Prayer World, connecting with the living dead. I see you got something.
I like that. Carnival of Souls. I'm feeling that.
That's a creepy video.
I like that thumbnail.
You got a lot of stuff coming. You got something coming up on the 26th. Oh, today is the 26th.
I've got, it's just a quick walkthrough. It's not really an actual investigation, just a walkthrough of a haunted hotel where I met Abe Lincoln's friend.
Oh, right. You told me about that. That's cool.
Yeah. And then Sunday I have the Lizzie Borden one.
On the 29th, of Lizzie Borden. And you got just tons of video people. She's got some fantastic material, which I have used some of her material for my show here. That's how much I trust her, and I fully believe in her.
The Lizzie Borden session is mind blowing. I had to make it into 2 parts because I was like floored. I was like, oh God, we got to go to another part. She confessed to a lot more.
I want to ask you, Amber, are you and Nona Boss like partnering up now on your shows on Sundays?
No, we're doing it just twice a month, every other Monday.
Oh,
just
twice
kind
a
of
month?
Yeah.
That's awesome because I love when you're both on.
I like Jessica. She's cool.
Yeah, we're talking about like the divine universe. We're trying to get everybody to kind of be one and love each other. Like I know it sounds redundant, but it's
Oh,
the
Nona
key to
Boss,
everything.
you said. I'm sorry. I thought you meant
Nona
the
Boss.
Cryptid Huntress, Jessica. I'm sorry. Nona Boss.
No,
My bad.
Jessica.
That's Jamie, Nona Boss, right?
Jessica is awesome. Hey, people in the chat, this is a true story. A Bigfoot Michigan Rob invited me on his channel. It was him and Jessica. And somehow the show turned around where I was interviewing Jessica on his show. And Michigan Rob goes, you know, Eric, this is my show. And you're interviewing Jessica. We're supposed to be interviewing you because I was so fascinated, but he loved it. It was just fun. But
yeah, Nona Boss is cool too. I like
her. The thing is, when you're with good people, you just have fun on a show.
Oh, yeah,
you know
vibe good, man.
It was awesome. And then
I love my YouTube family. I really do. You know, there's a lot of people that I know personally that think I'm like absolutely insane because I see dead people and I think that's
awesome.
Yeah, but
that's awesome.
You know, family events are weird now. You know, I get stared at really weird.
As far as channel, he's got some great things coming up. You can see here he's got coming up WW2 SAV Flight Nurse Alien Interview, in which I am so interested in this one because we all know the Roswell story.
Yeah.
But you don't really hear about the famous nurse that was involved with Roswell. You don't. So when Anthony told me about it, I was like, what nurse?
Yeah, she's the nurse that interviewed one of the only living aliens that was brought into Roswell while it was dying while it was there, but she got to sit there and talk with this alien, and it projected in her mind that Earth was a prison for 30,000 years. It was an extraterrestrial prison for 30,000 years, and then human life formed on it. So that's where the whole human extraterrestrial connection comes in. And then I'm going to explain next Wednesday why do the Greys, what do they want from us? I'm calling it Operation Nightmare, the Alien Grey Agenda. That's my own thing. So it's really not a military operation. It's just what I think is going on. So that'll be cool too.
And if anybody hasn't checked out the video that Anthony did, I will say it a million times. I loved it. It was amazing. You rocked it.
Thank you so much.
What are you talking about? What video? What show?
What video? What show?
What are you talking about?
I don't know what's it called.
UAMN TV.
Are you talking about this right here?
Yeah, buddy.
There it is.
There it is, right there.
What happened during those missing 5 hours? And I am going to put that link. And people, that video is really only 30 minutes long. It's only 30 minutes. Let me put that video. Check it out. And when you go there and watch it, you'll hear his story. But when you go there and watch it, leave in a comment that you heard about this on another channel, my channel, Unidentified SFAR channel. Let that channel know that
it's being shared around.
Through, so they know that everybody is sharing it. It goes a long ways to get invited back and stuff like that and tell more stories.
Thank you for that, man.
So that was a great video. I was watching it.
Thank you.
I left. I had to pick up my daughter a little extra early so I could drop her off so I could get to my son's school, sit in the parking lot while I wait for him and watch his show. Watch that 30-minute video.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I wish I could have caught it live, but I was getting hay bales for the
it was a pre-recorded, premiere type interview thing, but it was great because the guy that interviewed me, Darcy Weir, he's a really famous film director for UFO videos and stuff. So just the way he put it together and presented it made it all the better, It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Beyond that, I want to thank everybody for coming here today because I thought the conversation with Anthony and Amber was just awesome.
It was great, man.
I love stuff like this. It's not just about the devil. It's like, how do you know one on investigation? What do you do? And I got a lot of great information that the number one thing to do is believe in yourself, believe that nothing can harm you. Don't let something harm you. Let them know they can't harm you. It doesn't matter if you have holy water. You just got to believe in the stuff that you do have, Now, if I have a choice of tap water, holy water, I might go with the holy water, but
just do what you resonate with.
Just make sure you believe in it. Believe
right. Keep your faith.
Because all investigation, there is some danger in all investigations, and you just got to prepare and better yourself, and even like Bigfoot hunts, know your area, know what you're getting into, know the history of the house, know the area, why you're investigating. If there's a ghost story there, find out why, who's died there. Get any information you can get, because you never know. They can help you.
Oh, and real quick, sorry, this Sunday, the episode on my show is only going to be about 45, 50 minutes long tops, because from there I'm going to be on Nikki's channel, Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I just want to let you know that.
That is awesome. And remember, if you think it's the devil or demon, try to learn his name. I just learned from them that if you know their name, it weakens them.
That's right.
That is great. That is some solid information. Beyond that, we'll see you next time on the Paranormal.